Hello, everyone. This is Whitney Well from Star Earth Astrology, and I am here today to talk to you about the Virgo new moon that happens on Monday, September 6th. So this new moon takes place at approximately 5:51 p.m. Pacific time. So you can just adjust that for your time zone wherever you are. So we have our annual meeting of the sun and the moon in the sign of Virgo. So to look at where this is going to show up in your life, you need to know where Virgo is in your chart, and approximately 14 degrees of Virgo if you are not using a whole sign house system. And whichever house it takes place in, that is the area that we can see these things show up in. So for me, that is my 8th house. And so I might kind of see themes of the things that I share with others, kind of deep intimacies, the shadow in relationships, lots of things like that. And then if it falls on a personal planet or aspects of personal planet, that can also, it can affect your life in that way too. So this new moon, I really like. I think it is a deeply potent new moon. And the reason for that is there are a series of trines that happen on the day of the new moon, which means they're going to be in the new moon chart. And trines are are a relationship of 120 degrees between two planets. And basically what that relationship signifies is a really easy flow between those two. They're not in the same signs, but they're usually in signs of the same element. If you're using sign-based aspects, they will always be in the signs of the same element. So they'll always be both in earth signs or both in air signs. And that's going to allow them to work together in a really fruitful way. And hopefully it is fruitful, right? Trines, just because they're easy for them to work together, they may be working together at stuff that you don't really want to do. So that can be difficult. But these ones, I think, are a little bit in line with the metaphor of kind of turning over the ground, the fields, the gardens for fall. So often, if you live in a place that has a very long growing season, we will start planting fall crops out right as the weather is getting a little bit cooler. And these are crops that that are going to do better with things being a little bit cooler. And if you, I will not go in and list them all. And if you live in a place that has a shorter growing season, then we're getting close to the frost. And so we start putting things to bed and you start turning over the garden. And so basically what we're doing in both of those instances is we are taking out what was growing, and we're kind of turning it back under, we're tilling it back under, and as it rots, it will create more fertility. And so this is true for your life as well. So a Virgo new moon is a new beginning in the sign of Virgo. We get one a year. And it's also kind of this like tilling under and turning things over. What Virgo is the transformer. Virgo takes things and figures out how to use them. And so everything that has happened to you in the past year can look at and figure out how to use. And some things have to break down slowly before you can use them. So, right, like you don't have compost as soon as you put the yard waste in the compost. You have to let it break down. And so, and the days before the new moon and the days after the new moon, things are still breaking down. And so there can be this kind of slowness and this feeling of emptiness before really the reinvigoration comes from that. So what are these three trines, or maybe I will call them these three, I don't know, I'm thinking of them as three blessings on this new moon, which doesn't mean that that they are uncomplicated. So we'll start with the most complicated one, in my view, which is earlier on the day on Monday. We have Mars trine to Pluto. And so Mars is in Virgo, an earth sign. Pluto is in Capricorn, an earth sign. Pluto can be about fear, about transformation, about dying to ourselves and being reborn. Mars is about decisive action and how we get things done. And so I can really see the potential for this aspect, and embedded in the new moon chart, kind of, I think it makes it last longer. It almost makes this feeling last longer. The next 2 weeks, yes, until we have the Pisces full moon later on in September, but also the next 6 months till we have a Virgo full moon. So we're seeding these things. And Mars trine Pluto, it is afraid, but it is also fascinated. And actions taken now, though they may seem small, they might be terrifying. But if we take them, they may grow into greater empowerment for us, or at least move us from where we think we are right now. So that I really see as like this like plowing metaphor of like breaking ground. Mars trine Pluto, breaking ground. And then we have a maybe less complicated trine between Venus and Jupiter. So we've got our two kind of traditionally good guys that we call the benefics. We've got Venus very happy in her home sign of Libra, smoothing things out, helping us connect, holding our connections better. And she comes into the most harmonious aspect, the trine with Jupiter, the greater benefic, that is involved with synthesizing and bringing everyone back together. So I know that many of us have been feeling the weight of the political factions, of the vaccine factions, and really kind of struggling to connect. I know kind of where I live, we're back into mask mandates and we're back into being shut down. And so there's isolation as a part of that. And so this Venus trine Pluto is really about, it's really solution focused, about how we're going to make this all work, which is a very Virgoing question. This is the Virgo new moon. This is we need to plant new seeds of how this is going to work. And so that Venus-Jupiter connection is really like, how do we all come together? And this moment of desiring to all come together. Then the final trine we have is the sun in a trine to Uranus. So we've got the sun in Virgo, trine to Uranus in Taurus. In fact, this new moon happens, the strongest aspect that it makes is this trine to Uranus. Uranus can be the breaking point, but it's also the awakener. So right with Mars, Pluto kind of plowing through and turning over the earth, and then Venus, Jupiter seeding new seeds. The sun and Uranus are kind of, Uranus can reinvigorate the sun and really reconnect it to our sense of individual purpose and what we're actually trying to do. And if we can connect with our values in new ways, Uranus and Taurus, then that can inspire us and give us energy to move forward in figuring out what we're trying to do. So that's what I have to say about this new moon. I have a class kind of slash ceremony to honor it on Tuesday, September 7th, and you can find that on my website, which is linked in the description of all my videos. It's going to be, I call it a class. There will be a tiny bit of a lecture portion, but it's really guided imagery into a new way of experiencing time as a friend and as a carrier of you. So I hope you will join me for that. hope that you have a lovely Virgo new moon. I hope it turns over ground and allows you to see new things that inspire you to move beyond yourself. And I will see you for the Pisces full moon. I have another class starting. I have a Saturn return class. So if you are in your mid to late 20s, if you are 24 to 30 and you are struggling and feeling the pressure to feel like you have your life together and it's confusing and it feels like a lot, or you just like a roadmap kind of through the major astrological transits of those years. I have a 3-part workshop series on the 3 transits that everybody goes through at the end of their 20s. And the first one is on Saturday, September 11th, where we look at the progressed lunar return. So I'm really excited about this class. I'll probably do it a few times if you can't make this one, but would really love to have you there and be part of your Saturn return journey. So have a good week, and I'll see you for a Pisces full moon.